Hi, a very good afternoon to everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Welcome to our Ask Me Anything session for the Smart Port Challenge 2022. My name is Shireen and this is Jalene, and we will be hosting today's session. In case you are not familiar with SPC, it is the flagship event of Pier 71, which also stands for Port Innovation Ecosystem Reimagined at Block 71, a program co-founded by MPA and NUS Enterprise. This year, we have 15 innovation opportunities championed and supported by 22 maritime corporates and organizations. For this session, corporates have answers to your questions, and we will be reading out the answers that you have been waiting for. The challenge statement is, how might we make cargo hold cleaning on bulk carriers safer and more efficient? And it is co-created by ASMI and OSM Maritime, and supported by corporate sponsor WSH Institute and Ministry of Manpower. And before we dive into the answers, let's have a look at a short video that will give a quick overview of what this innovation opportunity is.
Bulk carriers transport unpackaged cargo such as iron ore, coal, cement and grains, amongst various other commodities. Before each loading, the cargo holds needs to be thoroughly cleaned with specialized high-pressure jets and cleaning tools. Whilst cargo hold cleaning may be carried out when the vessel is docked at the berth, it is often done while the vessel is moving. This labor-intensive task poses a risk of serious injuries, one of them being falling from heights. To counter this, we can use cherry pickers or mobile elevating platforms. However, these are costly and only applicable when vessels are docked. OSM Maritime renders services to over 700 vessels, including full technical management and crew management, and is looking for a solution that could facilitate cargo hold cleaning in a safe and efficient manner. This solution should be easily deployed by crew on board vessels during the voyage and allow for effective cleaning of cargo holds. This typically requires reaching heights of over 15 meters and handling water jets with chemicals and cleaning solutions. The solution should also be adaptable to handle different standards of cleanliness requirements depending on the nature of the previous and the subsequent cargoes. In addition, as the cleaning is often done during the voyage, the proposed solution would have to withstand the stability conditions of the vessel while she's at sea.
So let's get straight to the questions and answers. So first thing, we need to understand what is the problem. So let me pose it to Jalene. So what does it consider to be effective cleaning of cargo holds?
So according to our corporates, an effective cleaning of cargo holds means having the holds cleaned to a standard acceptable for the next intended cargo. So dirty cargo such as iron ore and coal are not so stringent, and a seawater rinse after the last cargo will be able to achieve the standards. We focus mainly on the loose rust and remnants of last cargoes, whereas for cleaner cargo such as grains, it needs much tighter kind of standards with no stains and no chances of spoiling or damaging sensitive cargoes. So some cargoes also require hospital standards, which then makes it even more clean. And as the name itself also suggests, the standards of cleanliness.
Wow, that's quite a fair bit of things to take note. I hope the startups here have taken note, some of them. And the next question is, what is the difference between normal clean, grain clean, and hospital clean? Do they currently use the same method of cleaning but different cleaning chemicals and solutions?
So a hospital clean is the strictest standard of hull cleaning and entails all hull surfaces to have 100% intact paint coatings, including the tank top, all leather rungs, and the undersides of hatches. So for the second type, which is grain clean, it requires the hulls to be free from any smell, any residue of the previous cargo, loose rust, scale, or things such as paint flakes. In addition, for grain clean, prior to loading the hulls, it must be swept, washed down with fresh water, dried, and also must be well ventilated. Light atmospheric rusting is generally okay, but any loose rust or chances of it or paint breaking off and mixing with cargoes is not acceptable. A white rag or usually a white glove test is generally performed where a clean rag or glove is rubbed against the surfaces of the cargo to hold, determine the cleanliness to the previous cargo so that it ensures it's clean for the next cargo. So lastly, for for normal clean, it requires the holes to be swept and in order to remove all the residues of previous cargo, it's also required to be washed down and dried in order to be ready to receive a similar or a compatible cargo.
That's quite an extensive
Yeah.
type of grades for cleaning.
Yeah.
So could you share more about how this on these various cleaning methods, like how can it be done?
So the common cleaning method for all the previously three shared is normally done by crew on board. So in the case for hospital clean, the use of shore gangs is more often than not needed to ensure all the areas are intact and still coated. But also depending on the next standards, then things such as chemicals, power tools, and paints are then used. So since I've been sharing a lot of the answers, a quick question for Sharin. So it's how is cargo hold cleaning currently done at sea during the voyage itself?
So at the moment, in terms of cleaning, it is done for both cases. They're actually done manually, and I as much as I would like to show you, but I think due to copyright, of course, there are a few videos available online around YouTube that could provide a better idea and a clearer picture for startups who are interested on this on the videos. Yeah.
Okay. So maybe beyond withstanding the stability conditions of the vessel at sea, it's really harsh, a lot of harsh conditions out at sea, and handling different standards of cleanliness requirements, what other aspects would sort of make a good solution for this innovation opportunity?
So right off the corporate's mind is that robotic, because the hulls are actually made of steel, and of course the logical reasoning would be use of magnetic cleaner, because so that the robotic the cleaner can actually hold on to the vertical structures of the hull, and that it can reach to a reach higher area. Then, of course, if you're talking about even higher area, we can talk about like use of drones if it is feasible to actually do a spraying, or even for close up of inspection at the even higher areas. So of course, there are a few novel ideas around on YouTube, but practically there is not one that has been able to do a very practical solution for use as of yet.
Okay, another question for you. So considering that bulk carriers usually transport various types of materials, would there be different cleaning specifications for the various materials such as coal and cement?
Yeah, definitely there will be different specifications. So when we are talking about cargoes, like carrying cargoes like cement, because cement are like things that can actually stick to the vessel cargo hold. So therefore, it's important to have an application of a slip coat prior to loading to the cargo, such cargo in the cargo holds, because this is something very important to take note. And by having this slip coat, it will also ensure that the whole cleaning becomes easier, and after discharge by washing away the slip coat, such that the cargo residue which are stuck can be easily removed when the slip coat comes off as designed. Yeah, so in short, it's important to take note that you have a slip coat to apply on it prior to loading your cargo. That's in short. Yeah. And okay, so I think next question for Jeline is that what would be the pressure required for a clean wash or removal of dust and rust, but not compromising the integrity of the bulk carrier?
So according to our corporates, it's up to 300 bar, and if it's properly designed, it can also take up to 500 bar in order to remove the rust. Yeah, but it's also very important to ensure that the ship structure is the integrity is not compromised. So it's also to ensure that the safety of the crew as well.
Right, okay. So let's move on to slightly a bit different, where How about when we do anchorages, can we actually have drone flights? What are some of the considerations that would have to be taken account for if we want to use drones to fly at anchorages? Could you share about what are some of the existing regulations on it?
Okay, so this is actually there are very new technologies for drones in the shipping industry and also in Singapore. And so Singapore also has specific regulations and requirements. Also, the main focus actually would be on the local law and regulations, and the risks when also flying drones around a specific type of vessels and flying drones in general. Yeah, so the distance of the anchorage will also be one of the limiting factors and something that startups should take into consideration if you're considering more of a drone solution. Yeah, so been answering a few questions. I think we can get Shireen to answer a couple. So maybe you can move on to some questions on an ideal solution. So what are some of the industry challenges that a solution provider should take into consideration when developing their solution?
So according to our corporates is that there are three things that we should actually take note of. So number one, it has to be easily operable by ship's crew. So basically we need to have simpler deployment. The second part is access to areas at height. This can be simulated ashore, but one thing to bear in mind is that ships move in sea conditions, so stability is important. And also to use of strong stable bases or magnetic technology to keep them fixed on steel hulls. And the last thing is chemicals. Chemicals will need to be used. So therefore, the equipment design needs to be able to sustain the same and harsh marine environment. Yep.
Yep. So maybe it's also good for startups to know what kind of support they could potentially get from our corporates. So maybe you could share a little bit on that.
So of course, coming from a corporate point of view is that we are able to arrange for the interested startups to visit a bulk carrier when we have the vessel call on port to the port of Singapore, so that they can actually have a more practical view about and practical view to see what the challenges are, and also be able to perhaps even interview some of the crew members, and they're also able to advise on a personal basis on whether or not the design would actually be feasible for practical use. Yeah. Yeah, I think I answered quite a fair bit of questions. So right now is for Jolene to answer is that, let's see, are there any other information or pointers that you would like to share with the solver community to allow them to have a better understanding of the innovation opportunity and the solution that you are looking for?
So our corporates have actually elaborated a little bit on this. So actually, on the internet, there are actually a couple of articles which cover safety aspects and challenges. So safety is definitely a key point that solution providers and startups would like to take note of. So going through these articles online, pretty sure there are a lot of videos online as well, will help you to actually understand the challenges and the need for the development of this. So yeah, I think in general, safety is really a big concern because there's still a lot of people working in this area. So always good to ensure that. Okay, so actually that was our last question for today. So for the startups that are listening in, we encourage you to put forth your proposals and you might have the opportunity to work with these corporates should you get to the next stage. So this is actually our last roadshow, which is planned for SmartPod Challenge 2022. And I hope you managed to catch our other previous roadshows and Ask Me Anything sessions. So if you haven't, you can always head to our YouTube page to actually check out our videos. And you can also scan the QR code on the slide now. One of them is for you to actually better understand the challenge statement. And if you're interested in learning about the other challenge statements, you could scan the QR code on the left. And also applications have been extended to 22nd July to allow startups more time to put in your applications as well. In addition, also please continue to follow us on LinkedIn and subscribe to our newsletter if you haven't to get the latest updates. So for startups that are going through the next stage, you'll be able to participate in the Accelerate program and get more interactions, more networking opportunities with our corporates to validate your solutions and also undergo customer discovery. So once again, thank you everyone for joining us this afternoon and hope you have a good week ahead. Thank you, everyone.